Joining me now to break this all down is today's primary contest is NBC News' senior political editor, Mark Murray. So, Mark, there's a lot here. Let's look at the South Carolina Republican primary. Nancy Mace and William Timmons, as we said, they're both facing well-funded challengers here. What's your outlook for that contest?
We're going to see if there's an incumbent that actually goes down to defeat. And Yamiche, there hasn't been one incumbent that is lost when you take away the redistricting member-on-member races that have actually already occurred. And it's worth noting on Nancy Mace that she ended up being opposed by Donald Trump in the 2022 midterms, was able to withstand that, win her race. And this time she actually has Donald Trump's backing. And the group that actually is opposed to her, it's Kevin McCarthy and his allies that are angry for her vote to oust him from the speakership. So some kind of like upside down world. And Nancy Mace once was opposed by Donald Trump, now has his support and is hoping that pulls her across the finish line. It's worth noting there is a runoff. If you don't get more than 50%, we're going to be seeing if she's able to clear that, because there's a 3-person race there.
It's very interesting to see Nancy Mace be able to get that endorsement and it all be sort of part of Kevin McCarthy's possible revenge tour there. But I also want to ask you about Nevada. There's Sam Brown and Jeffrey Gunter are both Trump supporters. Trump backed the frontrunner Brown just before Election Day. This is sort of a late endorsement there. Is it the case that Trump is really just kind of getting on board because he thinks that that's the candidate likely to win here?
Well, as we know, sometimes he does end up having these endorsements because he likes that winning record, or at least have that record that he's able to shout during his rallies. But Yamiche, it's worth noting that the National Republican Senatorial Committee had backed Sam Brown a long time ago. And one thing that's kind of been interesting is that Donald Trump has actually made some pragmatic and strategic moves with the NRSC. And so, yes, he ended up having a very late endorsement, but he kind of came around to where the establishment Republicans in the NRC wanted him to be. It is also something he did in the Montana Senate race, too, backing Tim Sheehy in that race over Matt Rosendale. And so some kind of pragmatism coming from the former president, Donald Trump, on those endorsements.
And, of course, there's also, we got to ask you about North Dakota. There's, of course, some tension there. To talk about that.
So, yes, you end up having Donald Trump, who's backing Kelly Armstrong, the Republican member of Congress representing North Dakota, and Doug Burgum, who a lot of people have on Donald Trump's potential short list to be his running mate, is backing Tammy Miller, who's Burgum's lieutenant governor. Burgum is not running for re-election, and so this has kind of created a situation where every Republican who's ever had designs on being governor, this is your shot to be able to do so. Trump has his candidate, Burgum has his own candidate, and we'll see who ends up winning.
It's also interesting that these candidates are sort of all a different flavor of Trump. Gone are the days where you have this establishment person who's maybe backed by Mike Pence, and then you have someone who's maybe backed by Donald Trump. What does that tell you about the state of things?
Great question, Yamiche. Look, this is Donald Trump's party, and you're exactly right. This doesn't have anything to do with the ideology or establishment versus Trump. This is all Donald Trump's party right now. And what is worth noting, Yamiche, in the 2022 midterms, us following Donald Trump's endorsed candidate and his track record was one of the bigger stories, because we were all trying to gauge, is the Republican Party still Donald Trump's party? Well, we got our answer to that with him winning the Republican nomination in 2024. These endorsements are less important. The fact that the results that we saw in Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina and the Super Tuesday states where Republican primary voters said, no, we are Donald Trump's party. And again, so that's why I think that these endorsements is not as consequential as the early primary votes that we saw from Republican primary voters.
Yeah, a fascinating change to have people sort of out Trump in this way. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.